All right, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of FDL Presents the Zach Rushlow podcast. And today's guest is Akii Dean, who is the owner and founder of Process Basketball. So what is Process Basketball? Well, Akii trains the top NBA athletes, the top NCAA All-Americans, the top high school McDonald's All-Americans. He's been invited to all of the NBA pre-draft camps. He's also worked with members of the U.S. Olympic basketball team, which is just baffling to me. And I think his biggest accolade of all that is the fact that he was my college roommate. Yes, you heard that right. Me and Akii went to college together. We were roommates our freshman year and our senior year. And it's amazing, a tale of two stories. Our freshman year, we were enemies. Our senior year, we were best friends, starting our businesses in the dorm room at the same time, clicking and submitting for our LLCs. It's just mind-boggling, and it goes to show you that you are the people you surround yourself with. So in this podcast, we talk about how to build a successful movement in a business based on value, just like he did with Process. And how do you get NBA and top NCAA players when you just played at a lower level college basketball? Like, how do you do that if you're not a D1 player? How do you get D1 athletes and NBA athletes to trust you? We also talked about how Akii was actually the one who set up my first Instagram page, which is absolutely baffling to me. But I mean, it's funny. He was the one who actually taught me a lot of what I knew early on. But before we begin, thank you guys so much for going to iTunes and leaving so many of these 5-star reviews. I love reading these things. It's a highlight of my day. So if you have yet, please go and check it out and leave us a 5-star review. It helps us so much. We're moving up the charts on a daily basis, and it's so cool to see. Also, if you are listening on YouTube, leave a comment below and let me know who we should interview next, because we will make it happen. You guys know this. You've left so many amazing comments for amazing guests, and we've made it happen. And lastly, before we begin, I want to thank all of our sponsors, One Bars, Enlightened, and Protein Cookie Company. Let's get into the interview. Welcome to yet another episode of FDL Presents the Zach Rushlow podcast. And today I have a special guest, and this right here is arguably like my best friend, my first friend in this business world. And like, we literally go back to being roommates as freshmen in college basketball teammates. This is the beginning right here. And I'm so excited for this podcast because just to kind of set the tone for you guys, me and Akii both started our first businesses in the same dorm room. We literally clicked to get our first LLCs together. And it's amazing to see where we've come and what I'm able to do. And now what he's been able to do, training the top level D1 NCAA. I mean, and guys you see on Kentucky, guys you see on the Orlando Magic, like he's doing it. And it's so cool to see me and him, and now to see him as a father as well. It's just gone full circle, and to know that like this is cool. Like this is a cool interview for me. So Akii, my brother, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. This is like it's like a dream come true, man. This is awesome.
This is super. Yeah, it's a super cool thing. I'm super excited for you guys to hear this interview. So, how I like to start these interviews is the fact that, I mean, who the heck uses a business card really anymore? When anybody, I was in San Diego this past weekend, and anybody that came up to me like asking me about like what I do, all these types of things, and I just tell them to pick out their phone. I'm like, you on Instagram? What does everybody say? Yeah. I say, check out my Instagram page, and then let me know if you have any questions. And I believe that's kind of how it is. So if I were to have somebody just exploring on their Instagram page, or I put you on my story and I say, hey, go check out my friend's page, when they click on your page, what are they going to see? Why would I follow Akii?
That is actually a great question. But for me, what I really try and pride myself in is my profession is basketball training, but that's not who I am. And I want my Instagram to really be a representation of who I am, and not just the good parts, but the bad parts, the struggles, the highs, the lows, and everything that I'm going through. So I would just say, I try and use that to show my why. My why is I love people, which is crazy because I used to hate people back in college, but now I love people. And I try and help as many people as possible. And I really try and, use my life to inspire somebody. I'm very transparent with everything I'm going through. So yes, you're going to go to my Instagram. You're going to see basketball videos and that type of stuff. But I'm hoping you see more than just a video. I'm hoping you see relationships that I have with players. I'm hoping if you go to my story and you see me joking around, chucking a ball, from a 10-year-old, I'm hoping you see that, wow, he really cares and invests everything he has into whoever's in front of him at the current moment. And then, like I said, I really just hope that, you see a human that has flaws, that's trying to, grow every single day, but that's willing to be transparent with, his deficiencies and hopes to let you know that you're not alone with whatever you're going through. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you definitely come to his page, you're going to see pictures of him, his wife, and his newborn baby. You're going to see him chatting it up with his young players. You're going to see him working with NBA and high-level D1 athletes. You're going to see a lot of different things, and I believe that should be our goal with anything that we do. It's becoming more than just a service on like one thing. We believe in people. We want a physical and emotional connection with people. And it's been cool to see you continue to grow and to thrive in that position that you have and being more transparent. I remember back in LA, whenever I saw you and we were both out there, which was like a cool thing. We both were out there visiting. And then Akii came over for dinner at our Airbnb, and I was able to cook for him, his wife, Amber, and his mom. And it was just a cool thing. But I remember we talked about it, like you being more long form, talking about your life and being more transparent. And that's how you build you're not going to go wider, but you're going to go deeper, and you're going to build your tribe and the people that really truly care about you. And that's what it really is all about. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's the quality of followers that you have that would like literally the goal is to have them want to fight for you.
Exactly.
What?
No, I agree.
100%.
That's one thing that, our conversation, it really helped me out a ton, was, again, understanding that it's not how many followers you have. It's providing as much value to the followers that you do have. And the rest, I feel like, will take care of itself in due time.
Absolutely.
Focus on whoever's, and I think it's, on Instagram, I think it's person-to-person interactions. If you focus on the person that's in front of you and try and give them everything you possibly have, as much value as you possibly can, and truly show that you care about them. So for me, caring on Instagram is, and pretty sure I can speak for you as well, is if you write a long post about something you're going through, you're caring about the person that's reading that because you took time. You had to tear down walls to be able to type that in and expose that to the world. So caring about the person in front of you, I feel like everything else will take care of itself in due time. You focus on that.
Absolutely, 100%. So, for everybody who doesn't necessarily know you too well, could you talk everybody through like what a typical day is for you, especially as somebody who is, kind of give a background of like what is process basketball? Like, what exactly do you guys do? How many locations do you have, and what is your necessarily your goal with it?
So, the Process Basketball is a company that I formed in my dorm room with right next to Zach. And pretty much our mission and our goal is we want to help develop people on the court, but more importantly, use the game of basketball as a vessel to develop young men, young women, whatever the case may be, off the court and teach them life lessons, help them grow into better people. I've been blessed to being able to expand. Started this in Ave Maria, Florida, technically, but had my first facility in Naples. Do not have a facility anymore, but expanded to Tampa, where we have a facility right now and a full-time trainer on staff. Chris Gray, shout out if you listen to this. And actually, a few months ago, had the opportunity to take over a training business called Game Speed Basketball, which is located in Tallahassee, Florida. So I bought that out, and that's currently where I'm at right now with my wife. We're in Tallahassee, Florida. So we have two facilities. We have a facility, actually I'm at right now. I have two facilities, one in Tallahassee, one in Tampa. Have a trainer, Kyle Lewis. Shout out to one of my best friends down in Naples doing the training. And what a typical day in the life for me is, it's one, I don't recommend this because I'm all over the place. I need to be much more organized. But I wake up and, I think with training from your time doing it, I'm pretty sure you can, back me up on this. A lot of times people think if you're not in the gym, you're not doing anything. It's like, oh,
I know, dude. It's like yes.
All day. I'm like, dude, so I get up and I pretty much honestly get right to work. I try my best to, read my Bible in the morning, I'm not going to lie. I'm not consistent with my times of doing that, but I get up and I start responding to emails for a period of time. I reach out to new prospective clients. That's one of the biggest things that I do, honestly, is just trying to grow relationships with people, both in the basketball field and just in the business field, because I think it's really important. If you're running a business, yes, I'm a trainer, but you have to have business acumen to survive and make a living off a training business.
It's unbelievable. What I've learned is relationships are everything, man. You could spend time after time, just so much time trying to build things, but then it takes one intro to one person that you can provide value to, and then what happens? All that extra time, like it literally just it expedites the process. So if you can find the right people to provide the most value to, that's where it all comes down to play. And that's why I like him building those relationships. I've seen you traveling a lot more and hooking up with other big name trainers in the industry that are doing very similar things. It's like, let's have an abundance mentality in the sense of like, if you're a big name trainer, like let's collab with other big name trainers. Let's kind of pay it forward. Let's all make United States and everybody in this country the best basketball players ever. There's enough basketball players to go around. Like I know you've had a past experience where a big name trainer in the industry did not have an abundance mentality. And I mean, golly, we're not going to name drop, but like it's a big guy and he's like, and it's a shame. It's a shame. But now that I look at his content, it makes sense. Yeah. But it's so that's huge. Like, but this doesn't happen. So people call this luck. It's like when, you got to meet them, you're lucky. It's like, no. You have to be a certain amount of qualified to meet these people because they're super busy. And if you want to get into their influence without having to pay, then you have to pay if you have not done the work. But if you are somebody of value and they think that they can get value from you, they will meet you and not make you pay. So like there's amount of work that you have to do. It's whether you pay up front to get their attention or do you do the work year after year to where whenever you do have that meeting, you can have it and to where it's mutually beneficial and you can provide value to them. So I like to think of it as like when luck meets opportunity.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know how many mentors I've met in this field that I've met and they took the meeting because I had done the work, but then they stayed around and became mentors of mine because they saw the value that I was providing. And I know that's very similar to what you're doing.
100%. I wish I could just I wish everyone would just understand what you just said, that it's not lucky. It takes groundwork to get to a position. For example, some of the guys that I train, that play in the NBA, they didn't just happen by chance. They didn't just stumble upon, I like your Instagram. You have no posts or anything, but I want to work out with you. Yeah. I'm making millions of dollars, but I choose you. It doesn't work like that.
Does not.
Too much stuff in the back end that people don't see behind the scenes. For me, I post on Instagram, a lot of the, workout stuff. I post making fun of my wife all the time on my story because that's just the kind of guy I am.
I love it. So one thing I've noticed, Amber's, she can take it a lot better now, like in the sense of like she's a good sport. She's a very good sport.
She is. I think she realized that I can't not make jokes. Like that's just who I am. I'm always making fun of somebody, not in a malicious way, but
it's fun.
Well, but yeah, a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that people don't see, and when I'm on the computer, or when you're starting a business and you're editing the film and chopping it up, or you're writing the long post, or I'm researching kids' names or schools, or I'm watching film and trying to be better at my craft. So when an opportunity does arise, I'm prepared for it. And
you have the portfolio. They can just scroll down your page and be like, whoa, this kid's been doing the work. Yeah. So like you might not have this is the biggest thing, guys. Your Instagram is a portfolio. Your YouTube is a portfolio. It's a resume. Absolutely. So if the right person comes to your page and maybe you only have 5,000 followers, but they say to themselves, damn, they understand the algorithm is not very favorable. Like the right people just won't see you because this is how it works. But they see, whoa, this is an account that deserves 500,000, not just 5,000, then they'll believe in you. That's the biggest thing. Like I get told all the time, Zach, you should have 500,000 to 1,000,000 followers. It's like, yeah, like that's how I treat it. That's how we treat everything. So that's the biggest thing, guys. Like I know a lot of you don't have a huge following, but just understand that like you're building a portfolio. Like don't ever lose that, like that frame of mind. Like this is stuff that nobody can take away from you.
And I would say, to anyone that's listening, because this is a mistake I made, and you've witnessed it firsthand. When I first started Instagram, I was so concerned about, I was a little bit more young-minded. This is maybe 4 years back, and this is before really any basketball trainers had huge followings. Now you have people that have 200,000, 300,000. I know 2 people, come to mind, have over 1 million followers, that are basketball trainers.
Yep.
Right there with them. I'm at 14.3 right now. I had 14,000 followers 4 years ago. I was posting stuff daily, documenting my journey when I was in college, and I stopped doing it. This is one of the things I regret the most. And I actually spoke at Jacksonville University to their athletic department yesterday. And one of the questions that we had on our sheet was, if you can give yourself advice from your 17 to 23-year-old self some advice, what would you give them? And I'm like, well, I'm only 25, so wasn't that far ago. I'm like, well, one thing I would definitely say is don't stop documenting, don't stop, and don't worry about what am I getting out of this right now. Because my mentality, and this was a big mistake, was, man, I'm not making any money off Instagram right now. Like, what are these followers really doing for me? And it was the dumbest mistake I could have made because I stopped for like 3 years, and I tried to.
Guys, you guys don't know this, but Akii's the one who actually created my first Instagram page. You remember that? I didn't know what I was doing, and Akii actually did it for me. And he coached me through it because at the time he was like big on Instagram and he was known as that guy. So I asked him how to do it for me. And he taught me the ropes, and then I've run with it, but it took a long time. And yeah, so like I know firsthand, this man was like in the very beginning, there wasn't a lot of people with crazy amounts of following. It was early on. And shoot, man, if I would have run with it back then, I didn't know what it took me like 2 years to really figure out what the heck I was doing. It's just timing is huge.
Is so important. Timing is important. Consistency is so important. And having a big picture mentality. Like, if I wish I would have been where I'm at mentally back then, just said, hey, I'm not worried so much about what I'm getting out of it. It's what I'm giving. If I'm giving value, kind of like we talked about earlier, eventually the right things will fall into place. But unfortunately, at that time frame, that wasn't my mentality. It was, I'm not getting anything out of this. Well, screw it. I'm just going to stop. I don't want to invest the 45 minutes a day, which I spend scrolling on actually providing value. And, but I learned from it. And I know someone listening to this is going to learn from my mistake. So at the end of the day, it was worth it.
Yeah. So like on Instagram, if you're not getting the traction you need, use it as a portfolio. Like, don't worry about that. Just think that maybe 6 months from now, the right person is going to scroll down your page and they're going to see it, or you're going to be able to show them that. Like, that's it. Like, rather than thinking, oh, nobody's going to see it, you're building. That's just a folder. Just think it's a folder. That's all you need it to be. And then when the right people see, I look at people's profiles all the time when they reach out to me and maybe they have 1,000 followers, but I know quality when I see it. And I'm like, damn, like this is legit. Like that's how it should be.
If you get a DM and someone's inquiring about something, first thing I'm doing is going to Instagram because it's right in front of me. And I'm going to look and I'm going to scroll down. And if I like what I see, you have a much higher chance if you're inquiring about, maybe some help with something or internship. I'm going to reply to you, but you have a much higher chance of me trying to go out of my way to provide value if I can tell that, you're dedicated to what you're doing and you're willing to put the time in. I've had people, message me on Instagram and how do I reach a certain level or how do I get more clients or whatever the case may be. Like, well, you need to establish yourself as a leader in your respective fields. One way to do that nowadays is Instagram. So I go to your Instagram and you've posted one time per month for the last 12 months. I'm like, man, you need to post consistently. It's like, well, I don't really have time for it. Well, then I don't have time to help you because you clearly don't have.
There you go. Boom. Like, that's it, man. It's like time is our most valuable resource. And like nothing bothers me more than if I spend time, I give away my time to somebody. Like I give them advice, and then they either ask me the same question again, or I'll like it kills me. It kills me. They do that or they do nothing.
It
And
hurts. I think it's because we both care about people. We want to see them succeed. So when you try and give advice to somebody and they don't take it, and you know it'll be beneficial for them, it's. I know for me personally, and I think because long term, I think I'm going to be a pastor one day. And I think it's my pastor's heart, but I get so frustrated because I want them to be like the best version of themselves more than they want to be the best version of themselves. So it
I
kills me.
know it's the hardest thing in the world. Like, but they won't be ready until they choose to be
Yep.
ready. And that's the thing that's scary is a lot of people don't ever give themselves the chance. They never choose. Like, to be honest, like remember when we were okay, let's go all the way back. Remember our freshman year in college when we were roommates together.
Mhm.
You guys, me and Akii were sworn enemies.
Literally.
Like sworn enemies. Like the Zach you guys know today is not the Zach I was back then. It's
Oh my
it's
God.
it's funny to talk about, but I was the kind of Zach that would party all night, get back, and then go to basketball practice, like not getting any sleep, and would like walk in the room and we have practice at 4:50 a.m., get back at like 4 a.m., and then go to basketball practice. Like that was the Zach back then. And I wish I would have. So no, like I was that person. Like I was that person up until I was probably like 20 years old, 20, 21. I didn't take anything seriously. I was the most like I wanted everything. Why didn't I get it? Like I didn't work for anything. It was like I wanted everything handed to me. And it was terrible. And so like literally a key would be going to bed early, sleeping, and I was wondering why he was busting my ass. It's because I wasn't, and I wonder why I had a career-ending injury, because I wasn't taking advantage of like all of these things that were super important. And it lights a fire under me right now because I know so many of you listening to this are doing the same things. You're just going through the motions. You're just not tapping out your potential. And it freaking drives me insane because people ask me, Zach, what do I do on a daily basis to like, I love what you're doing. I want to do what you're doing. Give everything you got. Literally have a microphone in front of you and you're so fired up that like you're talking like this. Like find something that gets you like this, that where you just want to shake somebody and say, this is what you need to do. Like that is it. Like I can't explain it to you. Did I know it back then? No. But when I found it, I found it. And you just like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think the biggest thing, advice really that I would have is do it. Do it. Like stop talking about it
Just
and
do
do it.
something.
You didn't know where, in that dorm room when you were jacking food from the cafeteria and that Tupperware. You know, I had no idea that this was going to turn in. 5 years later, now you're FDL and blown everything up and we're making the best food concoctions on the planet. No one knew, but I knew one thing: you were passionate about eating.
Mm-hmm.
You started. I had no idea. Coming from Ave Maria University, anyone listening to this, if you know where Ave Maria is, DM me on Instagram and I'll buy you a meal or send you a shirt because nobody knows where it is. Seriously, I mean, coming from Ave Maria University, would be training NBA players. That first summer, within 6 months of my business, and it's because I had an obsessive mentality in that dorm room, I'd have the opportunity to work with someone whose last contract was worth $50 million. Like it doesn't, but I'm still in college. Like I have no idea these things are going to happen. But I knew one thing: if I didn't start, I was going to lose my mind because I was always going to be thinking about I should do this,
Yep.
and I was going to regret. And I knew that if I didn't start, none of this would happen. So let's just see what happens with it and go all in on whatever. If you like ultimate frisbee, I don't care. Go all in on it and let's see what happens. Because
Yep.
I think the biggest thing is what do you, especially, people that are listening to this, I think it really transcends age. But if you're younger, what do you have to lose? Like
Really? Like you're spending less time scrolling on Instagram or playing video games and
your whole life. Like I look at it right now, it's a little bit, harder for me to take these leaps because I have a son. But at the same time, I'm like, man, this is really what changed me. am I being smart because I won't take leaps of faith because now I have a wife and I have a kid? Or am I being selfish because now I'm putting myself, what if I do fail? And I'm letting that fear enclose me into a bubble where what if I'm successful and then I can give them the best life that they ever dreamed of.
There you go. Swallowing that ego, man, that fear. Golly, like it's okay for us not to be right at that time. Like nobody's always right. Like that's never the case. But those people are always willing to understand when they aren't right and learn from it because everything is a freaking learning experience. Like you guys are hearing this on podcast after podcast after podcast. Every single guest we have is obsessed with learning. Like no matter what it is, like if you can be obsessed with anything, it's everything is a learning experience. Literally, I was taking the trash out and I learned a new way to take the bag out. And I was like, dang, like that was cool. Like, cause I learned.
It's like for me, I never personally, I never was really a drinker. I still have probably had less than 5 gallons of alcohol my entire life, and I'm 25, and a lot of it's probably been wine because my wife is like, try this. I've never really smoked or anything, so I don't know what it feels like to be high. My high is learning. When I learn something, I'm like, I feel like it's like you could tell by the way I'm talking. I just get so excited. It's so awesome to me, and I think for any business, any entrepreneur, anyone that's trying to be a professional athlete or just trying to be great at anything, learning is the most important aspect because that transcends. I think as you grow as a human being, you'll grow in your respective craft or your respective field, in your respective business, and it all comes down to investing in yourself and learning and not being afraid to acknowledge that you don't know everything out there, and putting that ego aside, and it'll help you, climb the ranks of whatever you're trying to do, I think, in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think an easy way to start is imagine you have every room in this world and there are like 10 to 15 people there. So think of whenever you go into that room and think of how much learning you need to do on a daily basis no matter where you go, what room you are in, you can provide value to that room and that room is better off because you're in it. And if you have a life of learning, you cultivate the ability to be able to, no matter what, make the people in every room better. No matter if you're talking about all the specialties, say you have 15 experts in the field of biomedical research, and I do not have the background in that, but I could come in there and find a way to provide value in another way, shape, or form that will help those people. Because remember, we're talking to people. People have so many things that they are constantly working on, whether that's emotional, physical, or their specialty of what their field of study or profession is. So no matter what, if you come into a room trying to 51-49 everybody, so you're literally walking into a room trying to provide more value to everybody else in there than they provided back. But in reality, what usually happens is it's 51-51. Like it doesn't, everybody's trying to up each other, and thus we're all better because of it, and it raises the level in the room, and thus everybody that leaves there becomes obsessed with that feeling that they had of value. Thus they go provide more value to people outside the room, and thus they want to be in more rooms like that. So you create that feeling in them, and then they will never forget it. Like Maya Angelou says, people don't remember what you say or do, they remember how you made them feel. And that is the biggest thing. Like when you are a person who provides value, you are seen as somebody that gives a good feeling wherever you are.
It's crazy because I think it's the most simple principle in the world. Who do you like to be around? I think you can ask this across the board to anybody, whether they're living out their dreams or whether they're not. Who do you like to be around? Majority of people will like to be around somebody that helps them, that provides value to them, that makes them feel good. So if you're trying to be successful, be the person that you love to be around. If you want something from somebody else, be that to somebody, and you'll be successful. I think it's so simple, but I think we make things complicated. I really do. I think we make things a lot more complicated than they have to be. It's just provide value. If somebody gave something to you, you would be happy 90% of the time. If you celebrated Christmas and your parents got you a gift, were you happy? Of course. So why wouldn't you give? Doesn't have to be a gift. Why wouldn't you give to somebody else and make them have that same feeling? And everything will take care of itself if you do those things.
Absolutely. And then this kind of gave me an idea of like, remember in college how antisocial we became? Like in this, like people saw it because we told ourselves that we weren't going to be sucked into the fact that people that we were hanging out with didn't want to provide value. They were doing things that didn't allow us to move forward. So I don't know how many nights me and Akii would stay in reading our books and studying and doing other things that made us better because our goals were so much bigger than everybody else's. And we knew that takes an unnatural or not an ordinary amount of work to make them happen. We became obsessed with that learning process. And it was just a huge thing. And I remember one thing that changed my life was the fact that I had a mindset that if I hung out with somebody one time, and I either leave that conversation feeling bad, or if they didn't teach me something new, they were on probation. And if that happened more than once, I wouldn't hang out with them anymore.
I just think, for me, because that time period was so important in my life. I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about the world. Like you said, from diving into books and being, it's like a catch-22. We were selfish with our time, but by being selfish, we were being so unselfish because it's
now we can share with the world.
Exactly. It's selfish of us it's selfish of anybody listening to put yourself in a situation around people, whatever the case may be, that is not fostering your growth. So I had a great conversation, on a podcast that I'm starting. Love the process. Plug. Sorry.
We'll plug it all below. So you guys will have all of his links will be in the description below. So make sure to check those out.
I was talking with a guy, his name's Paul Favorites, very successful athletic performance coach, very successful in business, has online training, just doing really good things. Trains James Harden. And I asked him a question. I was like, when did you decide that you were like, hey, I want to start making money off of this? And what he said was it like changed my eyes on everything. He said that he started trying to make money because he realized if he didn't, he was being selfish. He said because if he didn't, he would have to get a job, and then he couldn't provide as much value to as many people as he possibly could because he would be consumed with other things that weren't his passion and weren't his gift. And I was like, that's amazing. And I think it was so true to our college experience. We locked ourselves in our rooms, and you were reading your book and I'm reading my books, and I read 36 books in 3 months. I would go to class with our philosophy books, our big ones, and I'd have a John Gordon book inside the philosophy book, or the one thing inside of it, and really be reading about personal growth or business, and everybody made fun of me. But we locked ourselves and secluded ourselves to grow, and it was the most unselfish thing we could have done because now
those people that made fun of us, they're like, dang, I don't know how many messages I get all the time. Oh, I remember when we were at Ave and we had class together. Like, I'm so happy to see what you're doing. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I have this job, but I'm trying to get out of it. I'm like, oh, man.
It's crazy because you have to, I love Gary Vee. I don't curse like him, but you got to eat ish to get to the position that you're in. And eating ish is so unselfish in my opinion, because it's helping you and growing you for the future when you can. When you do get the platform that you have, or you have that opportunity, now you're ready to change lives with it. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, let's think of it this way, guys. So think of what you're doing now. So say 3 years from now, you have to give a talk in front of 10,000 people. So every moment you have during the day, whether anybody notices or not, and those 10,000 people have no clue who you are, zero, and they won't know until the day you step on stage. So 3 years from now, you're preparing yourself for that speech, and that speech changes your life forever. That gives you attention. So I want you to think of it this way. Probably for the next 3 years, no one's going to care about you. If you just understand that, nobody's going to care about you. Nobody cared about me except for in my hometown whenever I was running my gym. And then slowly over time, like, people started to care about me. Like, I look back on like my content from back then, and I like thought like a lot of I was getting so much engagement. I was like, wow, I was like, I got like 65 likes on that picture. Whoa. Like I remember thinking back then, and I went all the way back to that content. I was like, whoa, it's like that's crazy to me, because now it's like crazy different. But you just become obsessed with where you are at that time. And just know that nobody's probably going to care. Your parents are probably going to think you're weird.
I'll
Like
give you a
people.
story real quick because this is so true. A few stories. No one at Ave wanted me to train them, except for Chatton.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody.
Everybody was talking smack. Yeah, everybody was talking smack.
They all laughed. It's no, not unlike some vindictive stuff, but the little competitive nature is like, oh, well, who's laughing now? Like, obviously I want the best for them, but it's still like you guys were laughing then. Nobody. I had people at Ave, I'm not going to name names, told me you're stealing kids' money. Officials in Ave that were, let's just say, you got president, you got vice president, you got dean of students. I mean, we're talking about high ups, not Tui. Tui's the man, but we had high ups. You're stealing kids' money. You're not going to be successful. People laughing at me. Who's ever going to want to train with you? You go to Ave Maria University. Ave asked me to be in the alumni, I guess, letter or paper talking about, oh, he works with NBA players, this and that. I'm like, this is hilarious because a couple years back, the higher ups are talking about I was stealing kids' money. It's amazing how things change. I had people that didn't want to train with me, now DMing me, same type of stuff. And my mom, I love my mom, and I get on her about this all the time. My mentality is terrible, but my mentality is my mom says, don't do it, I'm doing it. Because she's always been wrong. I love her, but she's always been wrong.
Penny. Miss Penny is awesome, guys. She's a freaking character. It was awesome cooking for her. She was tripping me out.
I asked her if I should start the podcast. She's like, no, when are you going to have time? I was like, all right, I'm doing it. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. When I started basketball training, when are you going to get a real job? All the time. And some people aren't built, like me, where I just kind of was like, I don't really give a crap what you say. I'm going to do it anyways. Some people that really affects them. And that's unfortunate. I understand that, because a lot of my close friends, some of my, family are really affected by their parents' opinions. But when I made more than her, she said, when are you going to get a real job? It's like, I'm making more than you at 23. Why would I go get a real job? That doesn't make any sense, but you're going to hear those types of things.
Can I chime in real quick? So on, I think like 2 podcasts ago, I was talking about this with my friend Russ. So he had the same, like I was talking about my mom. So like his parents were from Nigeria, and like they're just like super, like any idea you ever had, they came here like super grateful, and they both are super well educated now. And like he'd have an idea, they're like, okay, so let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Okay, we're gonna go to China, we're gonna get this. Like it was so cool to hear that. Like, but my parents were the complete opposite. Like anytime I had an idea, I loved, because I always sought my parents' approval for everything. Like I just loved them so much. And it was always good to hear that they were happy with me. And I'd tell my mom of like a new idea I had, and the first thing that would come out of her mouth was something negative about it.
Yep.
And then I'm like, and so what I did was I just stopped telling them anything about early on in the process. I just wouldn't tell them. And then they would see the end product and be like, holy crap. And they couldn't say anything bad about it. So, but the real change happened is when I realized my parents weren't saying that because any spite towards me. They were saying it because they freaking love me and they wanted the best for me.
They were scared that, exactly, it could potentially harm you. And they want you.
Yep.
They want the best. And I know for my mom, and I think, some older generations, it's tough to fathom a different route of, maybe not going to college and not going to get a job and playing it necessarily safe route. So, and I know in my mom's mind, like I said, my mom's like legit my best friend. Outside of Amber, my mom is she's the closest person to me.
Yeah.
So I know she's not doing it like out of, you're going to fail. She's doing it out of, I don't want you to fail.
Yeah, no.
I've never done anything like that, so I don't want you to.
Yep.
And I understand it, but my mentality is like, yo, I ask you because I love you. Almost like I need you to say, you can't do it. Like, I don't know, I feed off that. Like, when people don't think I can do things, like, I'm the most competitive person on the planet. I want to win in everything. I coached the 7th grade team 2 days ago. Almost caught a charge. My son I'm so competitive. I almost strangled a ref. I'm not gonna lie. I had some ego moments where I was like, I train NBA players. You don't know what the hell. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm very competitive. If
Yeah.
I can't do something, I have to do it.
Will you tell everybody like some NBA players that you've worked with, and then obviously some college players that are in the NCAA tournament right now?
Yeah. So right now, one of my very close, is pretty much family. Jonathan Isaac, he was drafted number 6 to the Orlando Magic this year. Is currently playing with them. Went to FSU. Been working with him for years. Willie Cauley-Stein plays for the Sacramento Kings. Was a top 10 pick as well. Haven't worked with him in a while, but Courtney Lee was such a blessing. I was actually working with him while I was still playing at Ave Maria NAI school, no one heard of, and I was working with him that summer. Kevin Knox plays for University of Kentucky. Will most likely be a lottery pick this year in the NBA draft. I've been really just fortunate to work out, over 10 top 100 players in the nation in the high school ranks that have a very good chance to continue to work hard, being pros, and help 5 players that are in the top 10 in the nation throughout my career of doing this. A lot of these guys have won Olympic gold medals. So I've been really fortunate to have opportunity. I've been blessed from God. I mean, he's given me opportunities that I shouldn't have necessarily had, but he also gave me the work ethic to prepare for those opportunities.
Thank you. That you took the words right out of my mouth.
So
yeah, so the fact is, like, these guys could come train with Akii, and then they train with them. They're like, damn, this kid's whack. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But then they come back because he performed, and they're like, dang, this can make me better. And that's what they're doing, and that's what it's all about. So, yeah, this has been a freaking cool conversation. Like, yeah, like, guys, like, just know that it's not going to be perfect. Just be ready. Just be ready to hit a home run. You have to be ready. Don't be scared to swing and miss. Don't be scared to swing. Like, think of baseball, man. Like, if a guy bats 250, 300, that means that it's 2 to 3 times out of 10, he's only getting a hit. Mm-hmm. Those other times he's getting out. But those people that bat around 300 are in line for the batting title, and they're making millions and millions of dollars. And what if you are batting 250 or 300, and when there's a runner in scoring position, you get an RBI, which is a run batted in, or you hit a home run, like, then you make even more money. So, like, my thing is, guys, just be ready. Be ready. There's going to be everybody has 2 or 3 big moments in their lives. We all get these. I don't care what you say. We all get these 2 or 3 big moments that we just need to be ready for, that can change our lives. Everybody has that moment at the end of their lives. They're like, dang, like, there was these 2 or 3 moments. Like, I wasn't ready.
I was going to say is people a lot of times will be like, oh, I haven't had any opportunities. I'm like, yes, you have. You just didn't realize it and you didn't capitalize on it. Everyone's got them in some way, shape, or form, regardless of whether you're living in poverty right now or you have millions of dollars, from a trust fund, like, whatever the case may be, somewhere somebody was looking at you with the mindset of, do I want to invest in that person? Do I want to help that person? Do I want to give them an opportunity? And your actions, whether good or negative, were the reason of an outcome. And that outcome maybe were they didn't reach out to you anymore, or they didn't go out of their way to help you. They didn't invest in you, whatever the case may be. Or maybe they did. And I think a lot of times the little things that we take for granted and that may not seem to be game changers are the things that will allow us to get opportunities.
Absolutely. You don't know that smaller opportunity might be 2 opportunities away from being the huge one that changes your life. So don't put any value on each opportunity. Just make the most of each of them.
Like this, people that have reached out to me, via Instagram about maybe an internship or something like that. I'll go to the Instagram page. They'll send an amazing intro. I want to do this. I love, they'll compliment me, makes me feel good, boost my ego. So I'm like, man, I like this guy. Like, they took the time out to write a great letter or whatever the case may be, inquiring about an internship. I'll go to their page. Not in the beginning, but I'll go a little bit further back. I see doobies on the floor and all this type of stuff. I'm like, listen, see, you have no idea that I'm looking at that stuff. But how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis matters. And maybe it's not via Instagram. Maybe it's in a person-to-person relationship where you had a coach. I'm going to use a basketball analogy. You're young. You're playing in the YMCA. You have a coach that maybe is volunteering his time to try and help you. You're a great player. He wants to invest in you. But the way you talk to your parents after the game is disrespectful. And now he decides, you know what, I'm going to go a different route. Well, maybe that coach changes your life because of some connections he has in the future to get you to a certain level. Maybe he changes your life with a mentorship. We have no idea because the way you conducted yourself in times that seemingly didn't seem important or didn't matter changed the course of your life. It matters. Everything matters.
Everything matters, guys. Like every single moment adds to the next one. So never, ever forget it. So we're running up on time. So I got to get into the last question. But before then, I want to say, Akii, my man, I appreciate you. It's like I honestly cannot think of myself being where I am today if it wasn't for you and us being enemies early on. But then it's crazy how freshman year we were roommates and we were enemies. Senior year we were roommates and we were best friends. So and then I was in your wedding, which is just like such a cool. It's such a cool story. So I just want to take a second to say that I appreciate you, my man. Like it's been a cool thing. I always love seeing what you're up to. I love that you're a father now, and you're a husband, and you're just I admire the hell out of you, and I just want to say that I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, man. That trust me, that means a lot more than you could ever know, and I'm grateful that to have the opportunity to be on your podcast and to have a relationship with you because you've skyrocketed up, and man, I look at you for motivation every day. So I appreciate that more than you'll ever know, friendship wise, and almost like a mentor wise in a sense. So
that's cool, man. It's just it goes full circle. So last question. I got to set the actual stage for this. So today is Akii Dean's funeral. There's thousands upon thousands of people there to mourn the loss, but more importantly, celebrate the life you lived. And there's somebody on stage about to give your eulogy. You have no idea whether they were just somebody that followed you on Instagram. You have no idea if you had met them 5 times or if you've known them your whole life. What kind of life would Akii Dean want to live to where that person's eulogy would say what?
Honestly, that's an amazing question, and I've never actually thought about that. For me, first and foremost, I want them to say that he was a man that followed Jesus. Not just said it, but lived a life that Jesus lived. And I think with that comes he gave to other people. He loved other people. He invested in other people. He did everything he possibly could to be a light and to, as corny as it may sound, spread positivity, on this planet. And he inspired other people to, one, investigate the meaning of life and their purpose on this planet. And 2, he inspired other people to live not for themselves, but to live for others. I think that's really it. Yes, I want to be an amazing husband, but I think that all comes from being a servant. I want to be an amazing father. I think that'll come from being a servant. And I think the reason why I said, Jesus followers, I think, for me, how I was back in the day, I wasn't the nicest dude. He's changed who I am and allowed me to be a servant because I think I always had that gift in me, but I think I suppressed it.
You saw it as weakness.
Yeah. So, that's really it, man. Just someone that loved, that love. That's really all I have because I think love encompasses everything else that would be positive for them to say about me. Because the moral of it is you have to love somebody and had the most genuine intentions and wanted to see other people get saved, see other people set free from the issues that they had, and other people find their purpose on this planet and their meaningful work on planet Earth to impact others. So,
amen, my friend, amen. So I couldn't have said it better myself. It literally, guys, it is about love. Like go about your life loving more. Like, go love more. Love is just listening to somebody. Love
Yeah.
is literally when somebody needs to talk to somebody, you listen. You don't interrupt, you listen. Love is opening the door for somebody. Love is smiling at the person that you're checking out of the grocery store with, and after 10 people have just been rude to her, putting a smile on her face and letting her know that this world is a good place. Like, it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. And if you go with a loving attitude, and if we all do this, the world's going to be a better place. Like, and it sounds corny, but it's so freaking true, guys. It's so true. So
You never know
um
how one loving gesture can change somebody's life. You never know. And I know we're short on time, so I'll make this very quick. Some of the people that changed me, the reason why, honestly, I got saved, and the reason why I'm the person I am today, people that you would never, Father Garrity, did nothing
wow.
but had joy. And I was like, I want that. My best friend, Rodney Arias, had joy. Adopted, had so many hardships, and he was always happy. And I was like, what is the nicest, most giving person ever? I was like, what does he have? I need that. And two other people. My mom, when she got saved, and I saw a difference in her, and I'm pretty sure, gosh, Reardon,
Oh, Dr. Reardon.
the perfect circles. He had something about him, man. He was just a great human being, and I was like,
He
what
looked like he was floating everywhere he went.
is it? And these are not. This isn't LeBron James. These aren't people that look like me, that talk like me, that act like me, but they had something. And I could see that they really did love, and it was who they are. And it changed my life, not even because I had a deep, intimate relationship with a lot of them, but because I saw something in them that I wanted and I did not have. And it made me investigate. And it's a beautiful thing, man. So love. That's it.
Yes. So, guys, love translates into any language. It translates whether through voice, through body language, anything. Like, it's just, it radiates. And if you go about life, which is in a loving manner, so many things are going to happen. You're going to feel so fulfilled, and you're going to leave this earth feeling like you lived a good life. So I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Akii, for this. This was amazing. Remember, guys, you guys are all in control. This is your life, and we are all searching for that meaning in our lives. And if it just starts with love, just loving more and doing more for others, I guarantee you're gonna come a heck of a lot closer to finding that if you did not. So thank you guys so much for listening. God bless. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, Akii.